Okay, babies, we're gonna do a reading. I'm gonna do a reading. You do what you do. I'm not your mom. Two things that, well, really the same energy, but two things particularly. This idea of being chosen by somebody famous, and then following up on that, the movie, Disney movie, Starstruck, and this idea of like a famous person being like, wow, you know, is really interesting. So let's see. I don't know, I haven't done a reading in a couple days. I did do a lot of readings over the weekend, so, you know, don't judge me for that. Yeah, there's this really interesting, I've been seeing a lot of other intuitives also pick up on this energy, so we'll take it as it resonates, because there's definitely somebody that needs to hear this, because I was just working out and we went from Bad Girls to Hero. I don't know what the artist's name is, but from Starstruck. 10 of Cups. You got the Eight of Pentacles, the Hermit, and the Hangman with the 10 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. This is definitely a change where you feel like you've been working too hard and like by yourself. Pet Finder. Kinky? I don't know if that's... Anywho, but you're changing your mindset on, you know, having to do too much or be too much to be able to manage who you are. Like, there's somebody, this idea of like, I'm stuck on what I think I have to do for myself, and that's like, you're changing that mindset. You're opening yourself up. I don't know if kink is part of it, but that's what it's... It's feeling like you're very liberated, you know, like you're very assured of who you are and what you want. So it's not like somebody like flying you out and, you know, for a fun night. Like, this is somebody like wants to get to know you, but, you know, there's like a little extra spice there. Okay. I want you to keep this to yourself. You've got the World, the Hierophant reversed, and the Two of Cups with the Star reversed at the bottom of the deck. I'm actually going to take that out. There's this idea that, like, there is potential for, like, like, celebrities are humans too. And, like, you've got the potential to, like, really be with someone. I'm thinking of, like, the holy airball trend, and they were, like, something about, like, oh, like, I used to call her my princess, and it was, like, an actual, like, princess of, like, some country. There was, like, you know, he married royalty, and it was just, like, really interesting, because it's, like, that's the vibe that it's giving. This idea of, like, you're, like, the prince in me, starstruck, this idea of, like, accidentally bumping into someone that just happens to be famous, and then you guys are like, oh, you're kind of dope, you know, whether you know who they are or not. This element of kind of, I don't want to say secrecy, but kind of like boundaries. Don't be caught up on what it looks like. Really embody like what it feels. The Two of Cups talks about this energy of like, you pour into me, I pour into you. So this idea of like equality, of them feeling, you know, like if you are like, oh my god, like you're a celebrity, you know, like, yeah, but they also see you as their equal. So like, stand in that, and don't, you know, with the Hierophant reverse, there's like this kind of balance that's needed from you. Again, it's very much throat chakra. I'm getting like sinus. It feels like sinuses being released. So this idea of find, if you are somebody that wants to share things with people, find a safe place to put this information, like a therapist, or like signed an NDA or whatever is not, I don't know what the fucking details are of this, but like find a safe place to put it, because it does feel like, you know, it might be difficult for you to be able to keep this to yourself. So you got the King of Pentacles and the King of Wands with the Ace of Swords reversed. And with the Ace of Swords reversed, that's usually like a lack of clarity and this idea of like losslessness. But the way that I'm seeing it is like this person is able to provide for you passionately. So like you don't have to do anything. The Ace of Swords is also like incoming action, you know, so it's like that being reversed. It's like this idea of like you don't really have to do anything, just kind of be yourself, because they're very passionate about being who they are and being able to provide that for you. I just thought about Nelly. Nelly has been recently going famous for quite famous again, but there's this debacle about Nelly and his wife and their child, and how he's saying like, I'm not changing any diapers, like I'll give you whatever you want, you know. And it's kind of like this idea with the Queen of Swords energy coming out reversed here. I want you to be clear on your boundaries, but also, I don't want to say compromise, but compromise. I feel like the one thing that I saw with Nelly where I was like, okay, like if it wasn't circumstantial, I would understand everybody's frustrations. But then there's somebody else that explained it, and they were like, Nelly has been a father for various years. You know, he's like, I'm good. Like I'm done with the infancy. And I have a boundary that like I'm not gonna neglect that child. I'm just gonna let you nurture it until I can do what I can do as a man. Because I don't need to change the diapers. You know, like I can teach this child something and I can provide you what you need to make this job easier, but I'm good. And then there was someone that explained that like Nelly has children that are my age and older. I was like, oh, if I had children that were, you know, 20s and 30s, I also, especially if my partner was like, this is their first time experiencing it, right? I would also, you know, have a boundary that might seem, you know, questionable to people, but like makes sense to me. So this idea of, you know, trust your boundaries, but also be understanding that there might be, you know, some questionable things that you might have to, I don't want to say compromise on, but compromise on, you know, this idea of like, okay, I see what you're saying. I'm getting this idea of like, be willing to learn what life is like, especially if you're not a celebrity and you're getting with a celebrity for, you know, I'm really like, babe, I'm kind of jealous. Nine of Cups here talks about, what's it called? Fulfillment. These are, why did I want to say oracle? These are not oracle cards. These are folklore cards. And this particular one is very interesting to me in relation to this story, because this is a woman and this is a man dressed as a woman. The story of this card is that this man was so obsessed and like was so in love with this woman, and she was, you know, she's like, I'm only around women. Like, I don't want men in my life. That he... And yes, that's not healthy, but hear me out. That's the concept is like he dressed as a woman to be around her, and then she ended up falling for him. And this is the idea of like, you're gonna kind of cosplay as someone that matches this energy because you're around somebody, like you're gonna meet this person at their level and they're gonna elevate you. And in that there will be fulfillment for both of you. I'm kind of jealous. Just a little bit. I'm so happy for you. What? This is like those like once in a lifetime opportunities. This is very much a Prince and Me. This is very much starstruck. Yeah. Okay, why did you come out reverse though? Check that. Okay, if you're stuck on this idea of like, what do you bring to the table and da 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 da, you need to cut that out. The Emperor came out reversed and clarified by the Four of Wands and the Page of Pentacles. You're kind of confused. Clarified by the Four of Swords on the bottom of the deck here. You're kind of confused on how this person is showing up and how you think they should be showing up. So it's not matching, but only because you have an idea of you. It's like you have a vision of what this would look like, and it's blocking this idea because they might not be like the perfect partner in the sense of like, if you have like a checklist or, you know, this vision of what a perfect, they might not even be what you're really looking for, but they will be like, it's giving this idea of like, it's not what I want, but it's what I need. And you know, like it's very much more starstruck than the Prince and Me. Very much this idea of like, I don't like you, you know, like if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. This idea that she was very much like, oh, you're such a brat, you're a star, oh my god, you're and then they ended up spending time together and she was like, oh, you're whatever, you're kind of cool, you know. Like you have this preconceived notion of what this person is like, and when they show up as themselves, especially if it's like different from their media image, then you're gonna be like, oh, well, you're not who I thought you were. But they're exactly who they need to be. The Four of Wands is your 11-11, your union. This is also Shakti, if I'm not mistaken. That's like divine match, you know? But it is like, I asked like, why do you question it? And the Page of Pentacles comes out, which to me is like what do you offer? So this idea of like, what do you bring to the table? What are you really giving me? Like, what is, you know, and if that's your mindset going in, like, drop that. I want you to be curious without judgment when this comes in, and kind of just, it might feel like, it feels unnatural in my skin. This idea of like, I want to share this with the world, but I also don't, because I like, you're not really, it's just this like this little, you know, like uncomfort within yourself, because it's not anything that like you knew how to deal with, but it is so fulfilling. You get the 10 of Cups and the 9 of Cups both came out, so this is definitely something that's fulfilling. And I will say, for both of you, you know, like if you're having any fears of like, am I good enough for this person? Yeah. Yeah, you are. Let me see, is there anything else that wants to come out? I'm gonna shuffle a little bit. Sometimes the energy switches up on me. Nope, that's it. Okay. But yeah, be curious without judgment. I feel like there's a lot of healing that'll come like in your inner self, right? You don't have to like heal with them. I'm not saying like go to therapy together, but what I am saying is that this will be healing for you, if you allow it to be, because this is very much, I'm so happy, like this energy is incredible. Anyhow, thanks for coming to my TED Talk.